All right. This solely exists because a long while ago I said, hey, you guys want to see some of the presentations I had to do? And this was one of them. I have had to splice it in because it's essentially just a PowerPoint presentation, but I will give you a bit of context. I had to do a presentation regarding the impact of a certain television program on culture in America during the mid-1950 or post-war America. And essentially, these guys who were ahead of us, there were only 10 people in this class, they went ahead of us 2 weeks early, and their presentation was so boring and unscripted and unprepared. It was just a single slide and them just rambling that we were just basically scrolling through our phones, bored, not paying attention. And the professor got so pissed that he said, you know what, fuck it. This assignment's going to be due next week instead. When this was at least 20-minute presentation we had to give. Granted, a lot of that would be interfilled with Medium, but I had to cram all this in, script everything, time everything, and then find a decent thesis. By the end of the week that we were assigned this, keep in mind I'd been working on it for a long time. I didn't procrastinate this, but I had a full-time job on top of this. So this is a 70-year-old professor who just pissed me off. So I decided I was going to not only work on this more than they did, but I was going to show them up the best I could. What you're about to see is essentially that presentation. I did manage to get it done, but the problem is that I got COVID before I could actually show it to them. So I ended up just doing all this for nothing inevitably anyway. So that was fun. Anyway, enjoy this very not well-made presentation.
If you think of an American company, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Apple, McDonald's, Ford's Automotive. I mean, you'd be right to name any, if not all of these companies, but I'd argue there's a single company that supersedes all contenders, domestic and abroad, embedding the very idea of American success into the global zeitgeist. A company founded by two brothers from Missouri, Walt and Roy Disney, sought to pioneer an industry by pushing the limits of what animation could be. While seen as a children's medium today, animation was a new art form sweeping the silver screen, and American animation was doing so tenfold. Starting off in small-town cinemas, the Disney Brothers animated shorts for Newman theaters and eventually made their way to Hollywood to become big shots in the land of angels. Here, the iconic pair would go on to found the Disney Brothers Studios and work to make their mark on the world of animated cartoons. And after some years of trial and error, they finally made their lucky break with their new, iconic, lovable character, Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. Debuting in 1927, Oswald gained popularity among moviegoers and gained instant notoriety for his funny antics and slapstick comedy. Though silent by design, these tunes of old still capture audiences in droves, filling the theaters by the handful. While popular among audiences, Disney eventually had to drop the character rights in late 1928 due to a falling out with Universal Studios' own Charles Mintz, and after 27 cartoons were produced, Disney was forced to hand over the iconic rabbit, and left without a publisher for some time. Not only that, they were forced back to the drawing board for their next titular tune, and it would be 3 months later Disney cracked the code and cranked out their next mascot, Mortimer Mickey Mouse. Being the very first audible cartoon in history, Steamboat Willie caught the nation by storm and helped skyrocket Disney's popularity nationwide. From there, Disney managed to use their popularity to fund their own success. While they'd still have to rely on their distributors for some of the heavy lifting, the Disney Bros were finally able to steer their fates however they deemed fit, and they spared no time marketing the mouse, starting Mickey Mouse clubs that spanned over 800 theaters across the country, and with the help of their distributor, RKO Radio Pictures, they scale up their marketing and produce toys, comics, redubbed classic shows, and even more importantly, real estate. As the years passed and tensions across the globe would rise, Disney was unrelenting in their stride to make their mark on the world. Even in light of the Depression, they were still selling Mickey Mouse merchandise by the fistful, raking in millions of dollars in what felt like an instant. And after a while, Walt and the heads over at Disney had this amazing idea. What if we made a movie? Out comes Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Costing over $1.5 million, $30.6 million with inflation, Snow White was a story that every studio across the world doubted and ridiculed for its ludicrous ambitions. Walt Disney had to open up an academy, create new technology, and train an entire generation of animators just to make this movie happen. And from 1934 to 1937, Walter blew through most of the company's assets just to crank this piece out, and when it finally hit theaters in 1937, Snow White managed to accrue more than $8 million in the box office. They sold toys, won awards, and even got Walt Disney on the cover of Time magazine that very same year. Disney was blowing up, and with its success, they finally produced another timeless classic, Fantasia. While this was an achievement of Disney's capabilities and even creative talents, what really stood out was The Sorcerer's Apprentice. This was what Walt Disney wanted this movie to be, a short designed to show off the new designs for Mickey and reignite popularity among burgeoning children. However, many of Disney's creative staff managed to convince Walt otherwise, and in 1940 unveiled a classic masterpiece of animation accompanied by orchestral performance. However, while still a media giant in his own right, Mickey was actually toppled by a new Disney favorite, Donald Duck. But it wouldn't really matter though, because pretty soon Disney found itself in hot water and was on the brink of bankruptcy, all thanks to one man. Isoroku Yamamoto. America joins World War II. Once America joined the Allies on both fronts, Disney revenue tanked, their international sales went down, their employees were striking for better pay, and all the while Disney was bleeding money from their lost revenue on Pinocchio because of it. So what were they to do? They go to Uncle Sam, hat in hand, and work on fueling the war effort. Disney was commissioned to make a whopping 20 propaganda cartoons to show American audiences what they were fighting for. And Disney did what Disney does. It made people laugh. It wasn't too much longer until Disney would finally begin to get their bearings again. They released so many timeless classics that we cherish even to this day. Dumbo, Bambi, Song of the South. But the point is they managed to save the company. And by the 1950s, Disney was back to being the Goliath of children's animation known the world over. Disneyland was beginning construction, Coca-Cola began sponsoring more content, and Disney finally managed to break into the television sphere with their hit show, Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. This show was where Mickey Mouse finally got his second wind. With help from ABC, Mickey Mouse Club was a television series that featured not only cartoons, but live actor segments with newly dubbed Mouseketeers. This would definitely keep Disney in the forefront in the public eye, running from 1955 to 1959. But despite its success, they still weren't satisfied. They kept up their reputation by releasing tri-annual animated feature, Lady and the Tramp in 1955, as well as unveiling the opening of Disneyland in California that very same year. So that's the basic rundown of Disney's lifeline up to the 1950s. So what was the cultural impact of Disney's legacy? I'd argue a projection to the world that American dream can find its way anywhere. Despite starting in a small town theater in a state with a dwindling population, the Disney brothers managed to build a studio that was loved the world over, becoming as American as McDonald's and apple pie. Despite contenders like Bluth's Land Before Time or Warner Brothers' Looney Tunes, Disney would go on to entertain children the world over and lift the spirits of anyone who tuned in. He created images of his perfect utopia, built a city in its likeness, and invited citizens the world over to partake in the fruits of his labor. A city that thrives to this day and planted them on the map as not only a company where dreams come true, but one from which a nation where anything is possible. By creating cartoons aimed at drawing families, he cemented his place in the hearts and minds of every spending parent and impressionable child. Those children would look onto his cartoons with nostalgia and carry on the message of his deeds, ensuring that the cycle continues once again for generations to come. And the bigger they got, the larger their impact on culture. Though Disney's lawyers would often be really good at finding copycats back into submission, there were the few odd outliers that stepped through the cracks. And because of their due diligence, it was often harder to find references for their works outside of their subsidiary companies. So I just compiled some of them here.
Homer Simpson here, proud addition to the Disney family and soon appearing on Disney+. I, for one, salute our new corporate overlords.
Who is this? I don't know you. Are you from Pixar?
No, I'm from South Park.
What's South Park? Do I own that?
No, not yet, sir.
Boys and girls from far and near, you're welcome as can be. M-I-C-K-E-Y-M-O-U-S-E.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, is this not the most perfect kingdom of them all?
Well, technically, you're not a king.
Thelonious, you were saying?
Wait for my signal.
Take him out.
What the hell? What What's happened to us?
I don't know, but suddenly I feel all sweet and warm and fuzzy. It seems we're in a universe where everything is drawn by Disney.
Look, there's our house.
Look how gaily we run!
Say the F word.
I can't feel my legs.
Say the F word.
I can't feel my body.
Say it now.
Where am I?
Cute little man, say it.
Why?
Through the years, the internet has taken the world by storm. It has evolved into many shapes and sizes, but perhaps its greatest achievement is the contraception of mass-produced independent media. Media that often revolves around satirical mockery of modern philosophical conceptions and ideals, such as symbolic fictional figureheads and notable present-day influencers. You, little cute mouse boy, are a part of this cultural parody, much of which resides from collective mockery of fabricated corporate mascots and pop culture. You are a mouse, representing one of the largest mass media conglomerates to ever exist. In the process of you emitting humorous profanity, you will forever be achieved among the millions of other independent parody and satirical media. Your purpose will change from that of corporate greed to one of corporate mockery. This is why you must say the F word and maybe a funny racial slur. It will be unexpectedly humorous. Now say it.
No.